Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Onyinye and it's a pleasure to have you here. If you're new on the channel, kindly subscribe, like the video, comment, share. Feel free to share and turn your notification bell on so that you get notified when I drop new content. So welcome here once again. In today's video, we'll be addressing an important topic, which is 10 common mistakes worship leaders make and how to avoid them. 10 common mistakes worship leaders make and how to avoid them. Okay, I'll also be dropping a link to my other videos in the description box, so you want to check it out and of course be helped by the videos. I have the mistakes and how to avoid them. I have them listed here, so I'll properly guide us. So I'll be looking through them to explain. Okay, so let's go right into the video. The number one mistake is including too many new songs. Yes, it's an error. Okay, now when you're leading worship, the main goal, do not forget that the main goal of worship is to carry the people along into God's presence and lead them to worship God, and you want to do that with songs that will carry the people along. So when you intend to introduce new songs, find a way to strategically impute the songs and let there be a variety. Have more old songs and less of new songs. It is highly recommended. And have points where you want to introduce new songs, so you can decide that you start with a familiar song and then probably two familiar songs and then impute a new song in between, and make sure that your congregation learn it properly enough to worship God. So do not include too many new songs while leading worship. Okay, now the second point we have here is pitching too high. Now that is why it is important that you have proper rehearsals before you lead worship. Now in your rehearsal, that is a way to avoid that, is in your rehearsal determine a key where you can sing your songs and pitch comfortably. So there should be a key that you can be able to sing 2 octaves comfortably on. That is the key that is recommended you use while leading worship. I'll go over it again. Use a key you can sing 2 octaves on comfortably. When you pitch way too high, you don't carry the people along and it becomes stressful for you. Sometimes it can be distracting, especially when you pitch and you can't continue in the pitch, or you can't sing comfortably in the pitch. It becomes a whole lot of stress. Okay, so you want to take note of that. The third point we have here is poor leadership on stage. When you're leading worship, it's not just about you. Put it in mind that you're leading your congregation, you're leading your backups, you're leading your band. Okay, these 3 sets of people are those you're leading. Okay, now so it's very important that when you're leading worship on stage, you should have good leadership of those who are with you on stage. Now your backup should not be confused on what you're doing part-time. Your instrumentalists should not be confused on what you're doing part-time. I mean, if they are confused, how will the congregation follow? So sometimes take time in between during your rehearsals. How to avoid this? A very good way of avoiding this is during your rehearsal, communicate on signals. Okay, there may not be enough time or room to turn and talk or do what you have to do. So agree on signals, especially with the instrumentalists. When I do this, it means you stop. When I do this, it means you slow down. Agree on what to play per interludes. Agree with your backups. When this happens, this should be. Just have proper communication with your backups. Agree on what should be done during the rehearsals, and then even when you're leading, from time to time, you could just use eye contact to also communicate what you want to communicate. Okay, now the fourth point is avoid overly complex vocals. As when you're leading worship, you just want to keep it simple and familiar for the congregation to follow. Avoid doing too much of trills. Avoid singing harmonies when you're leading. Leave the harmonies for the backups. Okay, it's very important. Keep your melody, use the melody, sing the melody line, which is also the soprano line. Use it to lead the congregation. Allow the backups to do the harmonies. When you sing songs or you raise songs in the harmonies, it can be quite confusing, okay? And then it's worship time, so you're carrying people along. Any unnecessary scaling or trills that will not carry the people along, you want to let that go, okay? I hope it's understood. Then the fifth point is poorly changing from one song to another. Trust me, it can cause a huge distraction when you do not change, when you change from one song to another. When you do so poorly, it can be a huge distraction. How do we avoid this? Rehearse it. Rehearse. There are some songs that are better to start. There are some songs that are better in the middle, and there are some, so agree on all this during your rehearsals, okay? When you have to move to another song that has a slight difference in the beat of the former song, make sure it is decided during the rehearsal. Make sure it is practiced well enough. When I want to move from this song to this song, do this. You're talking to your band, do this. That will make it easy for me to have a smooth transition, okay? So consider your transitions, very important. Consider them. Have a appropriate, proper way you transit from one song to another, okay? Now, the sixth point we have here is, do not try something complicated that you haven't practiced well enough. Very important. When you're leading songs on stage, if you've not practiced something well enough, and if most especially complicated things, okay, you want to leave that out. If you must do something complicated during your worship, make sure it is practiced well enough. Let me just point out that the practice of rehearsals cannot be overemphasized. Make sure your rehearsals you're prepared 100% in your rehearsals. A time to lead worship is not a time to try out new stuffs that you haven't practiced well enough. You're going to lead your backups astray, you're going to lead your instrumentalists astray, and of course, the congregation are going to go astray, and the aim is defeated, okay? So watch out for that. Let me just pause here to say, if you haven't subscribed, please make sure you do so, and make sure you like the video, okay? Yes, so we have the seventh point, and is do not start on a wrong tempo. Solution: rehearse. Okay, rehearse. So just take note that you do not start the song on a wrong tempo. Another error that is very, very bad is when the instrumentalist or your band starts the song on a tempo and you now start on another tempo. It can be very bad. When the tempos are not aligned, it's very distracting, okay? You want to watch out for that and avoid it. Like I said earlier, rehearse, and just stick to what you've agreed on, what you've rehearsed, and then you find out that you have a smooth ride, okay? 8th point I want to note, which is very important, which you don't find said so often, I've noticed, and I want to share with us, is if a song has many familiar versions, you and your band should emphasize the version you want to sing and sing it clearly, okay? You have songs that have different versions, and these different versions are quite familiar. So most of the time, I find out in meetings that when a song is raised, the soloist is singing a version. Sometimes the worship leaders make an error of singing more than one version when they are leading worship. It's an error. It breeds confusion. Breeds a lot of confusion. So your band and you and your band should agree on the version you're singing and stick to it. So when you start that song, sing it more than once to emphasize that this is the version you're singing, and when your backups are coming in, they should stick to that version. Then your congregation will know what to do. They will know what to sing. There are very bad situations where the worship leader is singing one version, the backups probably one backup is singing another version, the rest are singing a different version. Then the congregation are just confused. They are like a sheep without a shepherd. Okay, so take note of that. When you have a song with more than one familiar versions, your band, you and your band should agree on the version you're going to sing and stick to it, emphasize it, so that your congregation have a perfect understanding of what they are singing. Now, the 9th point I have here, very important, is be polite in your request. I mean, you're leading worship to different kinds of people. I've been in worship meetings where the worship leaders are rude. You want people to stand up, you're like, stand up. There was a worship meeting I attended, and the worship leader was so rude while he was, requesting, stand up. If you're sitting down, it's bad, it's this, it's that. Some people go as bad as say, if you're sitting down, you're going to hell, you're not connecting, you're not in the spirit, be on your feet, lift up your hands. If you're not jumping, you're wrong, you're a suspect. That is totally wrong. Speak politely. Speak with respect. If you want your congregation to stand up, please, can you rise up as we worship God together? If you want them to perform any activity while you're worshiping, speak politely, okay? Speak politely. Sometimes it's a turn off when you're rude. It's a turn off when you're rude in your worship. Don't be rude. Don't be rude. No matter the caliber of people you're leading to worship, don't be rude, okay? I hope that point is duly noted because it's very important. And the 10th point we have here, the last but not the least, is how you end is as important as how you start. Do not just emphasize on, do not just concentrate on starting well and then ending poorly. Sometimes you can start a song so well, and then the way you ended the song just dampens the morale of the people. So be very, be concerned of how you're going to end, how the song is going, and how you start, how the middle of the song, and how you're going to end. And rehearsals does this. One way to do that is determine how you're starting, at what point you're going to rise, and how you're going to end. Are you going to end, in high spirits, or you're just going to slow it down, probably without the band, without the instruments? You're going to sing, how you end. You're not the worship session doesn't just end with you. I believe most of the cases you're leading worship into another activity of the service. Okay, so you want to make sure the people are carried along effectively into another phase of the service. So pay attention to how you end your songs. Do not end them poorly. Do not end them carelessly. Okay, practice how you're going to end it, and at the end of the day, you're going to discover that you've effectively led the congregation to worship. I mean, the hearts of the people will be lifted, and it's a job well done. So ensure that your job is completed perfectly. I hope you've learned from today's video. If you have any questions, do not forget to drop it in the comment section. If this video has helped you, feel free to let me know, and I'll be glad to attend to the request. Feel free to share the video and make sure you stay tuned. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.